like to make a motion to put on a lock to the town clerk's door from the inside.
Second?
Okay, we have some discussion.
Sure.
I had gotten a cost estimate for that particular part. It's around $200, and they will keep the key the same, so we don't have to change any keys. But you need to know it's going to be a couple $100, and it would allow a deadbolt to be thrown on the inside, but the same key lock on the. So there'd be a way to exit. Okay? Just so we know.
Great. Why don't I retract, you did the legwork on that, so I'll retract my motion. Why don't you introduce it?
Okay, so it's a motion to install additional lock onto the town clerk's office so it may be lockable from the inside without changing the key. At a cost of around $250.
Beautiful.
Okay?
Great.
I think we need to get it done.
Okay.
The sooner the better,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Moving on to the resolution to recognize the employee union.
You need a copy of it, too? What do you got? What number would this?
What number was that?
49.
49? Thank you.
Just before it gets introduced, I'm personally comfortable moving forward with the recognition without having this go to PERB. However, I do believe once we make the resolution, we'll need to work very closely with Greg. And Greg, you'll need to let us know if you think we should contract with specifically an attorney that works on labor issues, or whether it's something you think you should handle. But I do, once we move forward with this, the next thing is a contract process with the employees, and we really want to make sure that we, work in the best interests of the taxpayers of the town.
I want to raise the issue that Chris Novak has been a mediator in various sorts of legal and matrimonial issues in various states, and he may be a good person with whom to negotiate the contract with the labor union.
I also would like to support that, and I do support the gentleman's decision in our town, barring our employees to become a part of 294. I feel it's well within their right to do that. I see no need to go to court. I don't think we should. I just think we should approve it, to be honest with everyone.
I think I recognize the right to unionize, that's fine. And I have worked on labor mediations and arbitrations. Of course, we need to be side by side with counsel on this, but I'd be more than happy to donate whatever services needed to get this done to help out. Okay? Take the lead if needed be. Okay?
Great. Does anybody want to introduce it?
Me?
I'll
So moved.
introduce that whereas the town board received a formal request for Teamsters Local 294 to be recognized as exclusive collective bargaining representative for employees of the Highway Department of Town of Palatine. Whereas the majority of the Highway Department employees employed by the town of Palatine have designated the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 294 as their sole collective bargaining agent by duly signing authorization cards. Resolved that Teamsters Local 294 is hereby recognized as the exclusive bargaining representative for the town of Palatine Highway Department employees.
I'll second. Or Hank seconds.
Second.
All in, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Moving on to the, let me just make sure I have this in order. Okay, moving on to the workplace violence prevention policy statement. This is exactly as recommended by Joe Cook from the New York State Department of Labor. Would anybody like to take the motion?
I'd like to motion we adopt the workplace violence prevention policy statement as written. Resolution number 50.
Look at it.
All in favor? Or, I'm sorry, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Related to making sure that we come into, that we address the violations brought by the Public Employee Safety and Health Department of the New York State Department of Labor. We need to set a date and time to do the employee workplace violence prevention training. I actually think it would probably be best for Artie to tell us a time, right?
Sure.
Yeah, why don't we let him determine that? He knows better than
All
we.
right, so we
He
don't,
would.
yeah, I mean, we don't need a motion. We'll just hold the training and report on it next time. Is there another board member who attended the training with Joe Cook who would help me facilitate that training? Thank you, Hank. So Hank and I will just schedule a time, notify all staff and hold the training prior to the next board meeting.
All right, now, this will have to be advertised in the paper?
No, I don't think so. It's just for town staff.
Okay, just for
And
town
it'll
staff,
be-
okay, so it doesn't have to be advertised?
No,
all
but it should be, everybody in the town who works for the town should know that.
All the boards and the.
right. That means that everybody that, you know, like Cheryl and Cliff and any of the board,
Mhm,
ethics
mhm.
board,
Yeah.
zoning board, okay,
Yep.
all right.
I don't think it needs to be
Board
advertised in
members.
the paper.
Probably doesn't need to be board members. I mean, informal board members.
No, we've gotten, we've, well, we're
No, I
having the
meant
training,
the,
but
the other boards, for
Right.
example, planning.
I thought it was anybody that.
Anybody?
Yes, I think it was anybody.
It is-
That's what I was under the assumption when
Okay.
Mr. Cook spoke.
we
the other
kinda have
night.
to do it once a year for even the volunteers, but since we
Okay.
don't have everyone on board yet, we can have that training down the
Added.
line.
Well, we can do it again.
Right.
Well, let's try to do it all together. I think Linda's right, is what I remember Mr. Cook saying.
That
And
everybody-
even if they're unpaid, volunteers,
Yeah,
whatever,
they're-
they all, they
Yeah.
all have to attend these sessions.
Okay,
Right, but we can have many sessions.
We can have multiple
Right,
sections,
we can have
yeah,
multiple
yeah.
sessions.
Yes, as long as we accomplish that everybody's taken care of.
Right.
There's a motion missing here. I also wanted to do a motion to direct the town clerk to issue the workplace violence prevention questionnaire to all staff and boards and prior to the meeting, prior to the training.
The one that Joe handed us out to you.
Yeah.
We're gonna use the same, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
question.
Very good.
I second your motion.
Is that okay with you, Elizabeth?
Which one was that one, though?
Okay, the
I can-
questionnaire. I have a questionnaire, I have a copy of it.
Motion to the town clerk into the workplace violence.
It's what? No, I know, but
Oh.
I don't, not sure which paper it was. I have all the papers, but,
Second. I do have one. Bear with me for just a second.
oh, that one, the
Sample
one, okay, that
questions.
one, yeah,
Okay.
okay. Make everyone, okay, yep.
Then you have the email.
I have
version?
one, yes.
You have one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I got this.
No, you didn't get that one.
Any more discussion?
Did someone make a motion? I didn't hear.
I made the motion.
I'll second
I
it.
go ahead, Betty, you can have this.
I'll second
No more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so that takes care, as long as we do the training and,
This has to be done before they do the training, correct?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it should go out immediately.
so go
yeah.
out
As soon as you
immediately,
can
yeah.
do it.
Okay,
No, I mean, if you do it on Monday, that's fine.
well, Monday, might be the end of the week, cause Monday's the last day for collecting taxes for this month. So
Okay.
that might be busy, so it might be the end of the week,
As soon as you can do it. It's
as soon
okay.
as possible.
When possible.
Great, all right, we're tabling the procurement procedure till next month, when Artie has a chance to review it. We need the motion to approve the justice report.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And then we need the motion to approve the abstracts.
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Okay. I think that's it. Was there anything else that we wanted to add on
Oh,
We have the workshop.
before we do the workshop?
MacGyver and Associates bill is
That's
still
right.
out pending. I think we should write him a letter and ask him for clarification of their charges. There's a lot of charges there that are not there, and there's some mileage and a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense, and there was some billings for work we should have gotten that we didn't get.
Okay.
We never got a plan for the sewer, did we up there?
No, we never got a certified copy of a septic system design that
Right,
was set
that's
in the
my
initial
question.
contract that was $1,500.
Right.
That is correct.
So I'll take a first crack at that letter and I'll send it around to you all, and you might have a better sense of some of the specifics than I
Okay.
do, so.
When I send the ethics letter out next time, I'm gonna put the full text in the message field as well as attachment, as attachment. So it's a mystery to me why that stuff wasn't seen.
Yeah, okay.
Are we doing anything about a panic button?
I think
We
we
should have a workshop.
Yeah, let's
good.
talk about it in
Okay.
the workshop.
All right.
Just may need to be more than one.
The judge may want one.
Did you
Well, or
want to do
maybe
anything about
Leanne
the
too,
planning board
possibly.
letters in the?
Yeah, that's what I'm forgetting. I knew there was something big.
Okay.
Okay, so, two more things to add. The planning board resumes, we need to fill these seats as soon as possible. It's really unacceptable to have no acting planning board, especially when we have cases, pending. We have in front of us, two resumes, but there were also two more submitted by email, I believe.
Two or three letters.
There was only two
Were
for
there
the planning
three?
board.
Ethics.
I've got three here for the plan.
There should be at least 3 in here.
I have three for the
I got
plan.
three.
Joseph,
Yeah, Nancy.
Linda Spencer. Nancy.
One's for the ethics board were paper clipped together, and the ones for the planning board were paper
Yes.
clipped together. There was two, and there were about 5 or 6 of the other ones.
Okay, so I have, a letter from Nancy Claiborne, a letter from Linda Spencer, a letter from Joseph Falsarella, and then by email, I received and forwarded a letter from, Mark.
Kretschmar.
And a letter from Pam McKenzie.
Oh.
We need to fill 5 seats. We have 5 applicants.
Two of them are significant others of town board members, which I think we mentioned that we didn't think that was allowed, that it was, if they live in the same household, it's somewhat of a conflict.
Who's the second one?
Nancy Claiborne and Pam McKenzie.
Oh, Pam McKenzie, okay.
So Pam is Chris's significant other and Nancy is yours, right?
That's right. Well, I was working on the ethics statement this week, which isn't finished yet, but one thing I felt was the town is not large, so it's the same issue with contracting, basically. How far out do you extend the bonds of relatedness? And it strikes me that, especially in regard to the planning board, which is sort of firewalled off from the town board. In other words, you can't serve on it if you're on the town board. It wouldn't make any difference to have a significant other on that board because you can't really, you can't, shouldn't, and because the matter is technical, you probably don't even want to interfere with how they come down on things. So I think it's kind of firewalled away from the town board per se.
You don't think there'll be communication taking place between?
Well, there might, but I don't think it would make much difference because basically what they're doing is a technical job.
I think Greg said something about there's in the code of, that's in the code of ethics, nepotism,
Yeah,
right?
it was the code of ethics.
But there, nepotism isn't a question because there's no benefit that's going to come to either the board member or the ethic or the planning board member. They're just deciding abstract or issues of public policy as regards to land use, building, and so forth.
What's your opinion, Greg?
Well, this is probably the closest interest. I don't think there's actually a conflict of interest per se, but I think that there's maybe the perception that there could be some, bias because the person is related closely, and I think that's one of the things that
Can
it
you be
speaks
concrete about what form the bias might take?
Well, I mean, I think if I can find the provision in the ethics, let's see what it says. I read it just a little bit. A town officer, municipal employee, public official, employer, consultant shall not give reasonable basis for the public perception that any person can improperly influence his or her judgment. And I think what happens is that if there, I'm not thinking of any issues that come off the top of my head, but if there were, that type of close relationship, that certainly could be perceived that you would have influence if your significant other was on that board. Now, this is talking about the ethics committee, which I think is a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Yes, I would
That
agree.
would be,
No.
yeah.
Oh, well, right now we're talking about the plan.
That's correct, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying
okay,
this
got
is
it.
in the.
He's making the
yeah,
analog to the
yeah,
ethics
so-
committee.
Got it.
So I'm saying, maybe it's something that you want to ask, the public what their perception of that is, because I think, that's the question.
We're kind of between the rock and the hard place
Yeah.
too also right now because we don't have anyone willing to step up and put in the time and frankly that have credentials to handle the duties of the planning board on top of that.
The people that have applied, how do we know if they have credentials to begin with?
Well, Mark Krachmeyer alone is a civil engineer who built the palace for the Sultan of Dubai, has a master's in urban planning, and has been the site plan reviewer for Cornell University in the past.
And he lives in the town?
And he lives in the town.
So how about I make this recommendation? We need an acting planning board as quickly as possible. I think ideally we don't have we don't have a spouse on the planning board and the town board. I don't think the optics are great. I think Pam and Nancy would be fantastic on the planning board, but I do have concerns. So how would people feel about for now nominating Linda Spencer, Joe Falsarella, and Mark Kratchmar to the planning board, doing one more round of inquiries for additional applicants, and then revisiting at our board meeting next month if we have other applicants to look at it. If we don't, then we really did our best to
Is there one person who remains from last time? You said 4.
No, there's
No,
no one left.
no one's
I think we
left.
said four.
We need five, yeah.
So we have enough that if everyone accepted and we can get them together, we could at least get a quorum started. Although I think Mark is still in California for another 2 weeks, but,
I believe he said April.
middle of March.
Middle of March.
So, but we can at least get them together and they can at least accept their, we can at least get them going and they can get started, at least learning what needs to be done.
Okay. Now, we'll need to figure out which person gets plugged into which position.
Well, we have 5 applicants for the Code of Ethics, and we only need 2 out of those 5 for that board.
Well, let's finish the planning board.
But there might be somebody that applied for that may be able to
Oh,
serve on the planning board instead.
Great.
Well, we can ask them between now and the next meeting if they want to switch over.
The 2 gentlemen I spoke with, Mickey Boslett and William T. Winsman, would only serve on the ethics board. as
I
they
know
had-
Mr. Winston wanted to be on the Code of Ethics.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, and Mick expressed the same sentiment that he would only with the ethics.
Do you have the terms, Linda? I might have it right here.
It's not gonna be on the organizational meeting because we didn't have the regular organizational meeting minute.
Jim, any reconsideration back there? Arm twisting, no?
Anyone in the public that is interested, that didn't get to write a letter? I really feel uncomfortable appointing Linda, meaning she was involved with someone that sued the town. She's a nice person, and I've always considered her as a friend, and I don't want to hold it against her, but I just don't feel right that that party sued the town, and they could possibly sue us again. That's my feeling on that applicant. I
well,
don't know how
people
the
that
rest
are
of the
up,
board feels, but
people that are up for any and all of these jobs were equally vociferous on either side, so I don't know if that's a criterion to reject someone. Meaning that, you know, they were partisan, but so have lots of other people
Well,
too.
I think it's really important, we have to stop going backwards and we have to start going
Jim
forward.
Telfer
And if we
was
don't start healing this
2016.
situation, we're not getting anywhere. And right now, we have no
Marcy
planning
was
board and we have qualified
2017.
people that would like to participate. I think we need
And it was.
to let bear out.
Colin,
And I would take
Aaron
anyone
was
on both sides if they were
2018,
equally credentialed of the previous
Charlie
argument, and we
Trumbull
need to
was
look ahead.
2019.
the thing is we don't have any credentials in front of us. We just have a letter.
was-
and
this
and
was
we don't know what the
2015.
qualifications are outside of what you said about
So-
Mark, which, you know, I feel that
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 was
would
the
be
Well-
ones that were on
sure.
board at that
I'm
time.
sure if you'd like to wadir Linda, she would be more than happy to tell her some great attributes of why she should be on the planning board, and any of the candidates.
Can I say something here?
No, sorry. We'll have a public comment right after. I know, I don't want to open up it up to public comment right now. Okay. Can I actually- All right, so, I would, make the motion to appoint, I'm just doing this, to appoint Linda Spencer for the term expired December 31st, 2015 for 3
No,
years.
No, it wouldn't be, 2015's up.
Yeah, so that's the term, so she would be, that's the term that expired 2015.
So it would be for 20 then. If that, because it's every 5 years.
It's a 5-year term.
So it would have to go from 19 to the next one would be 20.
Because we're in 16 now.
Right, we're in 16 now. So these terms,
Mm-hmm.
when this one, when Edward Jackson resigned, or his term
That's
ran
the
out, he
expiration.
would be 20. He would be 20. You would, and then Jim Telfer would have been 16, So you're gonna have to go, then the first term that you're gonna fill is probably 2016. They'll be on term for 1 year, then another one will be on for term for 2, 3, 4, and 5 years.
Oh, so this is, wait, this is when they're, this year is when
That's
they
when their term
expire?
ends.
Expires.
Yeah.
It
okay.
expires.
And it goes for 5 years?
It goes for 5 years, so this 15 would go to a 20.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yep. Appointing Linda Spencer for the term previously occupied, for the seat previously occupied by Edward Jacksland, from effective today through December 31st, 2020.
Yeah.
Appointing with Joe Falsarello for the for the seat previously filled by Jim Telfer, expiring
2016.
December 31st, 2016. And appointing Marcy Mattis, appointing, who did I not
Mark
say?
Crutchmer.
Mark Kretschmar for the seat previously filled by Marcy Mattis, expiring December 31st, 2017. And actually, let me amend that first. So rather than Linda for expiring 2020, she would be in the seat previously filled by Paul Daw, expiring 2018. And then those two longer term seats are still full, still open.
Okay, got it.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Any abstentions? Okay, great. So that's the planning board. And then Neil had a recommendation about bringing the villages and the town together.
Yes, I'd like to propose possibly getting together the executives with the town, the two villages, and see what we could do maybe about working together, possibly a little sharing. If we could schedule some kind of meeting, discuss concerns, and see what possibly could be done to try to prevent a little overlap here of different things that are done. And, just basically feel it out. See if this is a possibility that two villages would be willing to go along with this.
Neil, I think that's a wonderful idea. I've heard some scuttlebutt from Mayor Post and some others that they'd like to just get together on a range of issues and just talk as just a quick beginning of any kind of process of things that we could work on together and help our villages and towns grow. And I think we'd have to have, if we had a joint meeting with everybody, it would be public and it would be announced, then we'd probably have to have it up at the barn.
Up at the barn.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I certainly encourage the public to
But,
attend.
I think that's a great idea. Maybe we can send an invitation out for 3 months from now or 2 months from now and see if we can get a date that everyone can make together. That's great.
I think Greg wanted to have a meeting anyways with all the boards, not all the village and the town together, but just the board in general to make sure we all know what we're doing and we're on the right page, right? With everything
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, if it was, at your workshop or something like that, you could